Now, I want you to ask yourself, why is it that you play games? Now, the obvious answer is simple because, well, we want to have fun, right? But there are many other things you could be doing to have fun. You could crochet, you could wear rubber gloves, you could go out for a walk. Any of these things are completely fine, but you specifically want to play board games to have fun. So, for me, the answer is obvious. For me, it is about socializing, forming social circles, finding new people for social circles, and engaging with those people on a social level to play a game, to share an experience. But here's the thing. What if you have too many people to play a game with? Well, in that particular case, you play 2 rooms and a boom. Two Rooms and a Boom. It's a social deduction game with hidden roles, and if you played games like The Resistance or One Night Ultimate Werewolf, you know exactly what I'm talking about. However, if you haven't played one of these games, then suffice it to say that you are assigned a hidden role in one of these games, and it is in your best interest to keep that role secret until the most opportune time to reveal it. Now, Two Rooms and a Boom is slightly different because the minimum number of players it holds is 6, as in if you have less than 6, then you can't play it. There are modes in the rulebook presented for less than 6, but I don't think they quite capture the spirit of the game. And even with 6 players, Two Rooms and a Boom is very, very minimalist. In fact, I think the game was intentionally designed to be played with at least 10 people and potentially more. And it can even hold 30 if it wants to. That's a lot of people. But you see, the problem with a game like that and making a review for it, it's very hard to describe on camera without having 10 people in a room or 2 rooms how it actually goes. So we're going to use a very tried and true method in board games to abstract the people that are being presented. At the start of any game of Two Rooms and a Boom, your players will be separated into 2 groups, hopefully as identical as possible in terms of how many people are in each group. Now, once you've done that, your players will not really know who they are, unlike Carl Jung, and therefore they're represented by this yellow color, which, let's face it, it's not really a color, they're just colorless. Yellow's a rubbish color. But right after that, each of them will be secretly handed one of these cards. Now, that card might say that you are a member of the red team, therefore becoming red. See this little guy? Now he knows he's a member of this team. And at the same time, someone else in that same very room might be handed a blue card. And now they are blue. And now they also know who they are. But you see, it's not as simple as that. You could be given any card whatsoever. You could, for example, become the president, which is one of the most important roles on the blue team. And if you are the president, your objective is, at the end of the game, to not be in the same room as the bomber. Now, conversely, the bomber's objective is to be in the same room at the end of the game as the president. Do you see where this is going? And very quickly you will find yourself in one of the 2 rooms full of people who might not be on the same team as you are, might or might not be hostile, might or might not reveal to other players what your role is. But then you're saying, wait a minute, how do they know what my role is? After all, I haven't shown this to anyone. Or have I? So, hi, hello, I have a card here, and I was hoping you would like to do a color share. I show you mine, you show me yours. Would you like to do a private share? Oh, well. Okay then. You see, sharing your cards is the core gameplay mechanic in Two Rooms and a Boom. All you're doing in this game is walking up to other people and saying, hi, would you like me to show me your card, and I'll show you my card? Because if you don't, then you're not learning any information about any of the other players. And most importantly, if you don't, people will start suspecting that you are one of the core roles, like the president or the bomber. And you don't want people to think you're the president or the bomber if you are the president or the bomber. In fact, you might want to not color share to dissuade them, to make them think that you are the president or the bomber when you're not. See, a game of two rooms and a boom is all about information. It's all about what the other team knows about you or think they know about you. You see, what happens next is the real beauty of the game. There are a number of rounds in the game that is largely decided upon the players. You can play a short game of 3 rounds, or you can play a very long game of 5 rounds. And then you're going to elect one person in each room to be leader. So this room will decide that this person specifically is the most trustworthy out of all of them, and therefore will become leader, and will get to decide what people will leave the room at the end of the round and travel into the other room. And the same thing happens in the other room as well. And that's it. That's all you do in two rooms and a boom. You share some cards, you elect a leader, you send people back and forth to other rooms, and then before you know it, the game is over. That's it, really. There's nothing more complicated to it. Apart from, there are some really cool roles in two rooms and a boom. You could be the engineer or the doctor, and they present an alternate requirement for winning the game for either the blue team or the red team. You see, the doctor has to meet with the president before the game ends, because if they don't, then the president is probably poisoned and dies, so the doctor has to treat him. Similarly, the engineer has to meet with the bomber before the end of the game, or they don't win, because the bomb's probably malfunctioning and they need to fix it, which is interesting. It forces the president and the engineer to actually do card sharing, whereas before they might not be so inclined to do so. They might share with one other person and that's it. And you still might do that. You might share with one other person and find out they're from your team, and then send that person on a mission to discover who the engineer or the doctor is, and eventually when they do find them, you know, you can meet up with them. But it's a risky move because you never know who's going to be sent to what room. So you need to get things under control. And sometimes it will work very simply where the first person you share with is the doctor or the engineer. And then that's it. You know, that part of the game is done for you. And you can focus on misguiding the other team. Or you could be the red spy or the blue spy, where actually the card color you have is not representative of the team you belong. So you might have a red card, but you're actually part of the blue team. So when you do color sharing like that, you can say, hey, I'm red, but you're not. And that works really great when you have another role called the coy boy. The coy boy is only allowed to color share, which means they might seem like they are the spy, or the spy could pretend that they are the coy boy. And that might sometimes work or sometimes not, because you might come up to someone and say, hey, do you want to color share? And they go, sure, okay, I've color shared with you. Hey, how about, you know, we do the full share. We show each other, you know, our real bits, our parts of ourselves, what define us, what make us who we are. And the other person says, no, I just want to color share. And you go, why do you only want to color share? And they say, well, because I'm the coy boy. And then you say to them, no, I'm the coy boy. And then there's some really funky roles like the gambler, and they don't belong to any team. They're Team Grey. Their entire job is to simply predict at the end of the game, before everyone reveals their roles, which team is going to win. And if they do, they win. As simple as that. Or you have Romeo, and corresponding to Romeo, there's also a Juliet role. And Romeo's and Juliet's role is at the end of the game to be in the same room as Romeo and or Juliet and the bomber tragically dying. And you have some really kooky stuff like the zombie card, which makes you a zombie at the start of the game. And every time you share with someone, they become a zombie as well. And then your objective is to overtake everyone and become zombies. It's crazy. There are a lot of roles. There are a lot of different ways to play the game. And because at the same time you're playing with so many people, you can make it as varied as you want to. And that's where the game's problem really, really lies. You see, somewhere in this menagerie of cards and people, there's supposed to be fun. And I honestly can't tell you whether you're going to have fun playing two rooms and a boom or not. And I guess as a reviewer, I fell at my job. But what I can tell you is that whilst you're watching this review, you will at least get a better idea about how the game is played. Because one of the things that Two Rooms and a Boom does very strange is it doesn't really explain itself very well to you when you read the rulebook. And if you're playing with a bunch of people that have never played this game before, and if you yourself have never played this game before, you will struggle to understand what the actual flow of the game is. And actually, if you are one of those people, I would suggest to watch Shut Up and Sit Down's 2015 Gen Con special, where they do actually film a large group of people playing this game and present how this game is being played very, very, very well. But the other real problem with the game is that all you are doing is walking up to people and showing them cards and talking. You're just talking. And socializing is fun, and lying can be fun. And if you don't like to lie, don't play this game, because you might be forced to lie. And there are certainly game modes where there is absolutely no lying whatsoever. You can just simply, I'll show you my card, you show me yours. There's no color sharing, there's no anything. You just forced to show a card or not. And that's fine, that's great. But that's all that happens. And sometimes in a game of Two Rooms and a Boom, you will find yourself out of things to do with your role. Either people already figured out who you are, everyone knows, and you are trapped in a room, and there's nothing you can do. You can't make decisions, you can't impact anything. You can simply sit there and wait. And I imagine that some people will be bothered by that. And then in other cases as well, you will be presented with a situation where it's a 50-50 chance whether something will happen or not. You know that the president is in the other room, and you know that the bomb is in your room, and you just have to wait and see whether they send the president to your room or not, because you're on the red team and you want the president and the bomber to be in the same room. But you don't know if that's going to happen. They might not. You just have no idea, and it's out of your control. And sometimes it is in your control. You are the person that is making the decision, and you end up making an arbitrary 50-50. That will be a problem for some players, but it wasn't a problem for me. I actually really, really enjoyed the game. I enjoyed socializing. I enjoyed talking to other people. And, trying to be coy and pretend that I'm someone who I'm not, or pretend that my role is not what they think it is. It's interesting, but not for everyone. And that's why I enjoyed Two Rooms and a Boom. It's not very long, and it is a satisfying experience. And to be honest, it's not like there are many other games designed for like 20 plus players. Where else are you going to find a game that can bring your entire gaming group together for one game? It's especially great if you have some new people come into your group and you want everyone to get to know each other and, kind of have a feel for what each other is like, and have a game, play something together, have fun. There's no other game that offers it, and for that alone, Two Rooms and a Boom is an excellent, excellent recommendation from me. But I have to say, don't force people to play it if they don't want to. If you have a big gaming group and you convince the majority of them to play this game, and there are just one or two people who don't want to play, let them not play. Let them sit one out, because this game is not for everyone. But I think you'll know if it's for you.
My mama cooks in Italy, mama swims in Argentina, mama's got a chungaye. My mama's works in Venezuela, mama likes Cinderella, mama's got a